Hi everyone, welcome to the 7th episode of Tower Tales, the ATC Podcast. This is your host Mahesh Sharma, joining you from Hyderabad to bring you the untold stories of veteran air traffic controllers from the Indian Air Force. In each episode, I delve into their experiences, sharing their real stories, challenges, and the critical roles they've played towards ensuring safety and security of our skies. Get ready to explore the fascinating world of ATC with these men and women who were highly radioactive once upon a time. Our guest for this episode was commissioned in June 1977. After basic ATC training, his first posting was at Pune, followed by Jaisalmer. He was also posted at Air Force Station Bagdogra and later commanded the 956 GCA Squadron at Chabwa. After his retirement from the Air Force, he joined Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udan Academy and continues to be there. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Wing Commander Sanjoy Chakravorty as our special guest for this episode. Good evening, sir. Welcome to this podcast of Tower Tales, and I'm really happy that after some delay we have been able to connect and finally the D-Day has come.
Oh, here also. I've been really wanting to talk to you because you're doing a wonderful job in, downloading and preserving the various instances, different our stalwarts, especially whom I have been hearing, Jagdeep Singh, Gandiok, Rajaram, etc. It's a beautiful. BJP Rao, my erstwhile colleague and senior.
Yes, sir. And thanks for making time so late in the evening. I know you have a hectic schedule during the day, but your interest has been a big energizer for me also.
Same here.
Sir, moving forward, I would like to take you back into the memory lane and ask you if you could share some of your earliest memories, even before you joined the Air Force. What prompted you? What were your motivators? What brought you to join the Indian Air Force?
Okay. You see, I'm from St. Columbus School, Delhi. And a lot of my friends were already in the Navy, Army, and the Air Force. And it just so happened that after my graduation, I was unable to join India because of a physical problem. So after I finished my graduation, they asked me, "What are you doing? Why not joining the Air Force?" So I said, "Yeah, just let me know the ad." So they gave me the ad, and I just went there. And there I was.
That's very nice, sir. And even at that time, was it that people who were joining the admin, they would either go to ATC or FC? Was the same thing
Yes,
prevalent those days?
That was more or less the case.
Okay.
And I felt privileged to be in ATC. I mean, I would have felt privileged to be in FC also. The thing is, I wanted to be close to the flying.
Mm-hmm.
I like flying. My nickname is also pilot. So that's how it works.
Great, sir. I'm sure it would have been really a big boost for your interest. So tell us a little bit about your first posting, sir, after you have done your BATCO or the basic ATC course.
See, after doing the 6 months BATCO course, I landed up in Pune, and within 4 days of my arrival there, I was told you're going for the cyber course. So I was very much against that because I wanted to be in ATC. I had a bit of a love for ATC. You really can't call that 6 months, but I had an inclination to go towards it. So I went to SATCO. I told him, "Sir, what cipher? I want to do ATC." He said, "Son, you're getting a course, go." Okay, I went cipher course. After the cipher course, I came back. I had barely come back, and there I got married. So immediately afterward, SATCO sent me for the fire course. So I was doing many courses at that time, and I landed up in July as actually a novice in it. Because
Which year
by
was
then,
this, sir?
this is in 1978. 77 we got commissioned, and 78 I was there.
Okay.
Now by July, I had actually memory erase had taken place of whatever ATC little bit.
I can understand, sir, because
Okay.
you haven't had the hands-on experience immediately after the course you went there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now what happened? I had the privilege of being an under trainee with a wonderful officer, Wing Commander AP Sani. He took me on, and in 3 weeks' time, he trained me quite a bit.
Mhm.
Okay. To the extent that one fine day, with 12, 14 aircraft in the air, on aerodrome control, he left me and vanished. And I could hear my heart pounding, cook and butterflies in the stomach. I had a jolly good time. My goodness, getting all the aircraft back. And repeatedly, I was looking very sunny, very sunny. And Sane came immediately after the last aircraft had landed. And I almost let fly at him. Where were you all this while? It was a nervous happening from my side.
Yeah.
But all aircraft had landed very nicely. And he told me, he says, actually, I was downstairs in the RT cabin monitoring your handle. Oh, it was wonderful. For confidence booster, I must thank him as my mentor.
No, that's really nice to hear from you, sir, but because the excitement is still palpable. I can see it on your face. When you're recalling that, I think you still have the goosebumps. Perhaps
Oh,
you
yes. Oh, yes.
got those that day. But I want to take a pause here and ask you to reflect. You said he was a wonderful Satko you had, and he gave you the reins.
Yeah.
He trusted you.
Oh, yes.
Um, what what was that which made him do that?
I don't know, but he himself was a cat A, young cat A at 6 years of service and very good mentor. I mean, I used to observe his, happenings which he used to do in the tower, cleaning up, seeing the flying program, all that. And luckily, I've followed him throughout my career. And I've thanked him also personally so many times. He's been a wonderful officer, wonderful trainer, and
Sir,
a lot due to him.
as you're speaking, that actually makes me think that how important it is for a young ATC officer to have a SATCO who's so supportive, who trusts you, who believes in your
Oh, yes.
capabilities, and grooms you so well.
Oh, yes.
So,
It was really wonderful.
yeah, that's really good to
He
hear.
was not the SATCO. He was one of the ATC officers
Okay,
there, but
okay,
excellent.
wonderful. I can recall some of my so-called mentors when I joined the ATC in Tezpur, and I can completely relate and resonate with what you're saying. Um, Moving a little forward, so tell us a couple of early experiences that you had while at Pune.
At Pune, I had a wonderful experience. One packet one day came, and there was a diggy hill, and we used to have low clouds there. So aircraft was on circuit,
Mhm.
and he asked for the runway. I think it was runway 27. I gave him 27, and visibility was poor. He, I think, must have reduced bank. So his base leg extended, and when he did the final approach, it was on runway 14, which is the
Mhm.
cross runway at Pune. Suddenly, I found there's an aircraft coming towards ATC. So I just kept on telling him, go around. And downstairs in the basement of the ATC tower was the flight safety meeting going on. Here, kept on telling this guy, go around. And the pilot won't listen to me. And it was the co-pilot eventually who went around, and he narrowly missed ATC.
Oh my God.
Okay, group captain call was the coup, and he blew a stop on me. I was a young pilot officer. I had barely any service. I
Mhm.
told him, sir, this is what happened. And my Chatco was Wing Commander CL Malik, fantastic father-like figure. He told me, don't worry. And he took on the thing. He said, there is something more to it than made CI. He couldn't have made such a mistake. Because now Malik immediately realized that this aircraft has come from the wrong direction. So
Mhm.
he then did a bit of he called the
Fact
pilot
finding.
because he was very senior, very senior. So he called the pilot, and the co-pilot said, he won't listen. That controller was repeatedly telling him, go around. He won't open that. He won't raise. Then I had to take over, and I did. So it was, it was a hair-raising experience for me.
But so as you're narrating this, I think the pilot controller rapport, and the when the pilot is flying and the controller is at the air traffic control, I think it's a team.
Oh yes,
and
oh yes,
and when the team works in close coordination, like a cohesive team, I think instances like these are prevented, because it's quite possible that in the team one person is a little off guard, but the beauty of a team is the other person, like here a controller on the ground, can prevent a situation that could have been devastating.
yes, yes.
So that's really good to know, sir. Moving on, let's move on to. I think Jaisalmer was your second posting.
Oh yes, yes. That was again. It was a very adventurous posting for me. When I got the signal, I was actually devastated because I wanted to go to a happening fighter base, and there I was in Jaisalmer. I'd been to Jaisalmer on TD just some time back,
Mhm.
but now it was a posting. Okay, now when I landed up in Jaisalmer, lots of things happened. For a young flying officer, I'd barely landed up. 10 days later, there was an inspection, command inspection, and all the questions which he asked me, I didn't know the answer. I just didn't know the answer.
Mhm.
Okay. So anyway, somehow I got a very bad report from there. So who asked me, so what happened? I said, I don't know. Give me 3 months time. After that, you can ask me any question. So in 3 months time, I had geared up, and then Wing Commander M.R. Nair came for inspection, and he gave me a thumping report,
Mhm.
because by then I had known everything. Okay. So, acha. And one of the, good things which happened, I must tell you here. There was an underground ATC, semi-underground ATC.
Okay.
It had an asbestos roof,
Mhm.
and three people were supposed to sit inside that with one table fan. You can understand the heat of Jaisalmer,
Yeah.
around 50 degrees. 45, 50 is very common over there during the summer months. In that heat, if a person is going to stay there in that underground ATC, he cannot possibly operate for very long.
Mhm.
So I understood that this particular situation has to be rectified. So I wrote a small paper on that, and I presented it to my base command. That said, this is untenable. We cannot operate under these. So he said, what do you? I said, I want to have a bigger ATC and semi-underground, where if I'm going to stay for 1 to 2 months, because I cannot predict how long a war will last, it must be comfortable. So he said, okay, you talk it out with G. So I talked to G, and then we made out a plan, and eventually CNC cleared that particular project himself. He had come there on inspection. I had prepared graph paper drawings of what I want, and he saw that, and he was quite impressed. He said,
And what
okay,
was your rank, sir, around
I
that
was a
time?
flying officer at that time.
I mean, look at the foresight and your keenness to bring about a change at when you were still green at years,
Oh,
and
yes.
so early in your ATC tenure. That's really commendable. Yeah.
So this I'm talking 1981. 77 we got commissioned. 81 I was there. 81 is when I met the CNC, and he had come to ATC for an inspection, and I showed him these various graphs. And we played it very nicely with the base commander and self. And CNC actually cleared. He said this particular drawing is okay. So once he said it is okay, next day he had gone back by flight. I went by train, got his stamp done by his staff officer, and
Wow.
after that it was just a piece of cake. The G was very nice, and I dare say today the changeover time from overground to the semi-underground was 3 days. 3 days it would take us if we decided to use
Yeah.
this semi-underground, all that wiring, etc., electricity connections to be given. We changed that to as fast as you can run. You had to leave the overground ATC, run to the underground, open the lock, switch on, just switch on the switches, and inside would be irrespective of temperature outside, that means how hot it was, irrespective, it would be 22 degrees inside within 10 minutes, and you could leave an aircraft on downwind and give him a final squall from under.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is no exaggeration.
This is no exaggeration.
Yeah.
One always, that was my baby. Okay.
Yeah.
So I came to know about my baby many, many years later here in Iglua, when one officer came here on posting, and he said, sir, I was in Jaisalmer, and we have been operating there for 6 months during the summer month. I was thrilled because that was the first ATC in which we had insulated glasses of that nature. The only station which is to manufacture that was in Calcutta, and from there we had got it. It had taken me a lot of job I did with regard to volume of air and how the air conditioning should work, how the insulation should work. But I was very pleased with the end outcome of that. And I'm sure those of people who have been in Jaisalmer after me, that is 82 onward, would also realize, yes, it is good. It's worth.
Yeah, wonderful, sir. That's and doing it so early in your career as a ATC officer, to take that initiative and get it done, and you've left a stamp for life.
Oh yes, for me it's wonderful.
Great.
I must tell you here of another incident which took place in Jaisalmer.
Yes,
I
sir,
told
please
you,
go ahead.
Jaisalmer
Yes.
has been, adventurous. Jaisalmer was quite far from Jodhpur, almost 300 kilometers.
Mhm.
And I used to think, I said, in case an aircraft has an emergency, which is the diversionary air route? It's the nearest Uttar Rai, that is also about 160, 170 kilometers. So, Garbat, I have to do something about it. So, in my mind, I said, can I use the parallel taxi track? I discussed with some pilots also. I said, it's half the runway. As it is, you land on the left side, then you drift to the right side. So, you land on 75 feet. He said, yeah, it can be done. So I manufactured a plan in which if we block the taxiways, I can use the parallel taxi track for landing in case of an emergency. I made out a plan. Okay, I was nobody, I had no authorization, but I said in case of a dire emergency, I will use it.
Where did you get this idea from, sir?
Nowhere.
It occurred to you?
Yes,
Okay.
on my own.
Oh, great.
I just worked it out, and because Squadron used to keep coming, and I used to keep interacting with it.
Okay.
So I'd worked it out, including the Met assistant, the RT chap, and the AFSOs, runway controller, everybody, where to be positioned and what all things to be done. All that I had planned, and as luck would have it, one day the runway got blue. And there were 4 aircraft returning back from range. The moment they left range, I told them divert to Jodhpur runway block. The leader told me we cannot divert. If in 5 minutes the runway is not clear, 4 people will eject. I was shocked. I mean, out of my pants here, I was just a flying officer, junior flight lieutenant. I was, sweating, and I told that SFS, I said, "Kya kare?" He was actually dumbfounded.
And what type of aircraft were these, sir?
Marut.
Okay.
So now I just didn't know. Then I said, activate parallel taxi. I just gave the order downstairs, activate parallel taxi. And we had done it so many times before that. I'd practiced it quite a bit. Immediately everybody went and took position with the red flags to mark the taxiways and all that. And the first aircraft, there was one who was 6 months senior to us, Eddie De Silva. I asked him, Eddie, can you make parallel? He said, yeah. I said, you're confident? He said, yeah, I'm confident. And he came, and he was the first aircraft to land on parallel taxi. I dare say, till then, I'd not heard of anybody else landing on parallel taxi track in the Indian Air.
Oh, that's nice. So, in fact, if that be true, that means Eddie De Silva was the first one to create history, and you were the first one to facilitate it in Jaisalmer by making a parallel taxi track landing happen.
Yeah, and post that, I know a lot of parallel taxi tracks got the soft ground arrestor and arrestor barrier and all that. Okay, I was very pleased. I said, okay, you did it, baby, you did it. That
I am sure, sir. And that's really a feather in your cap. I'm sure it'll now get recorded in the annals of Air Force history. You also designed the underground ATC in Jaisalmer, which of course we have discussed. Moving on, sir, where did you head next?
I'll tell you, every station I went to, I used to make some difference earlier. One station which I can again recall was Bagdogra.
Right.
Okay.
Bagdogra is in just for the information of people who don't know about Bagdogra, it's in near Siliguri.
Yeah. Foothills of Darjeeling.
Darjeeling, yes.
Foothills of Darjeeling. I used to love that place because first time I saw clouds rolling down a mountain and coming to the plain. It is beautiful. Okay, there when I reached there, and I used to attend the planned flying conference. And the squadron commanders and the flight commanders used to forever be saying, task has not been achieved. It used to bug me. So I started talking to both the flight. I was a junior squadron leader. Okay, so I used to go to the squadrons and visit them ever so often. They were very nice to me because we used to do breakfast bumming. Okay, breakfast columns was there. And in that much, I used to keep asking them, what change can be made? What is the syllabus and things like that. Having done all that, I made out a plan and I discussed with the who was then Group Captain Limay.
Okay.
So I asked him, I said, sir, it's like this. I've got a plan. He says, yeah, I'm not understanding your plan, but I will do one thing. After briefing, I'll hold back the squadron commander and the flight commander. You present your. So I presented my plan one fine day to these people, and I told them, I said, if you just go out of phase with each other slightly, that means while one is doing 2v1, the other ones can do nav. We were doing 6 sorties per hour. I said we can increase to nearly 13 sorties per hour with one airjet. Okay, so initially they were a bit hesitant because everybody's resistance to change. But I will give it to them. They adopted the new thing. I also suggested to them the change in the sector orientation. The sector orientation was, to my mind, largely based on the radial. Although, so I thought they are doing VFR. They can see Tista River. So if I keep Tista River as the main marker, he can stay east and west of that. And then
in any case, you already had a big local, a compass with you there in form of Kanchenjunga.
Oh yes. I'll come to that also.
Yeah.
So then when they did this orientation, we moved from 6 to 12 aircraft going per hour, and I was very pleased when they used to meet their targets in the required time because they were after training squadron. So it was very nice. This Kanchenjunga which you mentioned, I would, just sit back and keep thinking about it while at home. How can I help aircraft? Because the only aids we had in those days was an NDB and the Kanchenjunga. We had a VOR also, but my aircraft didn't have VOR. No.
Did you have Kanchenjunga in the local loss procedure?
No. But I realized that between NDB and Kanchenjunga, at different places, different angles would be formed. So if an aircraft coming in from the east, he would be able to see Kanchenjunga at a particular clock code, and then I would know approximately what his distance is from Bagdogra. Okay, and if he is coming in from the south, which was Kishangarh and on, then he would see a different perspective of Kanchenjunga. So if he could see either of these two things, I would know proxy where is he.
It was like a rule of thumb.
It was like
in the army when you measure distance and all, you use your fist.
Yeah.
And the separation between the two knuckles to calculate roughly how many degrees separation.
Yeah. So I dare say I was able to help somebody when he reported he couldn't get a lock on anywhere and he couldn't, we didn't see him on radar. We had a very good radar in the Bagdogra, but nonetheless, we couldn't see this guy. So he said, can you tell me where am I? I told him, sir, what can you see below you? He says, what to see? And everything is green, green, green. So मैंने कहा, sir, आप देखो तो सही, tea estate है, but that tea estate must be having some design. And then he told me, okay, there is one, I can see a biscuit-like pattern. Then I told him, sir, you're still east of Hachimara. And you contact Hachimara on this frequency. And after things were okay, he came and landed at Bagdogra.
But sir, as you're mentioning this, I can imagine the kind of awareness you had about the terrain and also the airspace management. So how did you get to know all these things?
Oh, I used to fly a lot in the helicopter as well as all the aircraft which used to come there. I used to make it a point whenever I could, I would fly with. And I would be actually be noticing the ground. Ground to map, I would be doing all that. In order to firstly do a recce for myself. So I knew exactly where. So if a guy said I can see this type of a bridge, I would know where exactly is he. So I would go by
that actually helped the job that you were doing in terms of helping the pilot, especially because sometimes the weather is not good, sometimes the navigational aids are not available. So when the chips are down, such awareness would really help the pilots in.
Oh yes. I'll tell you, I can raise my hands now and surrender. One fine day, there were 10, 12 aircraft in the air, and the weather, when the weather slaps on in Bagdogra, it comes up onto the final approach.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this weather was coming on to final approach, and weather warning issued, and there were youngsters flying. So I told them, I said, now, and the radar went off the air. Okay, for some reason, I don't remember exactly, but radar was not available. So I ran to tower, and there were people in panic. I said, don't worry, now I'm taking over. And I did a non-standard QGS with all of them. Okay, from Siliguri, I brought them onto final approach, and then did descent right up till MDA. Runway was 12 o'clock. Okay, that's I did not know, don't take credit for that. But that everybody landed in fairly bad weather. I put the seniors at the last, put the youngsters in the front, and then they were. And the flight commander came to me and told me, Jack, you've done a good job. I was thrilled. As it is, we were on very good terms, between the squadron commanders, flight commanders, and so.
Great, sir. I'm really so impressed with so much you did as a young controller, and you continued. I think your early years actually had set you up for continuing to do these things wherever you went.
There is one more incident I'd like to talk about.
Sure, sir.
I had taken the bat course for OJT to Chandigarh.
Okay.
And in Chandigarh, I saw one AN-12 taxiing out for Leh. Standing in the ATC, I realized this guy's nose oleo is unserviceable. And Wing Commander Bhatnagar was on RT in the aerodrome. I told him, sir, please tell him that his nose oleo appears to be unserviceable. So he was, very much taken aback. He said, sir, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm very sure. Tell him. So he told him, and obviously AN-12 was going for a sortie to Leh. Everybody's expectations were very high. But he cleared up on ORP. His flight engineer came out, checked, and said that nose oleo unserviceable, and went back to dispersal. Squadron commander was very, very thankful. I was actually thrilled. I'd stretched out my neck.
You knew something is amiss, and you had an acute sense of observation, and you could prevent a possible incident or accident. Wonderful, sir. I believe you were CO 956 coordinate.
Oh yes. 956 squadron also great. I landed up in Chabua, 956 squad, and I realized it was hot, humid, sultry. My controllers were sweating it out. They used to be in a 3-tonner like truck over there with a small scope, and somehow they would like to, how they were able to see the aircraft also surprises me. But I was of the opinion, is tarah kam nahi. So what happened was, when I talked to the engineer told me, sir, the remote scope has been unserviceable for so many years, 17 years or so. Nobody's ever. I said, no, nothing doing. I had done some, what you call, hobnobbing with electronics. So I said, no, you open it. So we opened the crate. We found out that the solenoid was not there, and the solenoid connection which required to be made up was, not available. So I worked out something, and we made that particular scope serviceable to the extent possible that for training purposes, at least the controller could sit in an AC room and then work on that.
Great.
We never gave 100% clearance to the radar unit there, but we did a fairly good job.
Wonderful.
We
So, as we head towards the end of this episode, question which comes to my mind, and since you've narrated so many, incidents, and also what you did as a controller, what do you think it takes to be a good controller in terms of proficiency? What should be, or maybe in terms of a message to the young controllers, that what are some things that they need to do early on in order to become a proficient controller?
I'm thankful to one Wing Commander Kailasam. I don't know how many people today would know. He was another mentor of mine. When I landed up at Jaisalmer, I didn't know what to do as a SATCO. So I wrote to him, and he was the one who guided me on. That is what I wish to share with those who are coming into the field of controlling. Apart from the practical graph is, it's a 45 degrees climb, and then it plateaus out. But the graph for learning the theoretical aspects, which are the actual backing of the practical, it takes a while. And I think as soon as possible, one must get started and try to consolidate that knowledge along with the practical. So if he is able to do that, then only he will be very calm, cool, calm, and he would love to do control. I love to do controlling till the last day, and even today here in Igrua, it's been 17 years down the line, I'm teaching regulation, ATC.
That's so nice to hear, sir. I think we had a wonderful conversation, and very crisp, very enlightening. And I'm sure many of us who would listen to this, some of your colleagues, seniors and juniors, would definitely find it very interesting, and nostalgia would definitely overcome them. Thank you so much for recounting these incidents, sir, and thank you for making time. Any parting shots? Anything?
No. Thank you, Mahesh, for having me on your show. I'm really very impressed with your doing, with your particular interest and the way you have gone about it. It's actually wonderful. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, sir, and have a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Same to you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Tower Tales, the ATC podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and had a first-hand peek into the incredible work and life of yet another veteran controller. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, leave a review, and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. This podcast is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Your feedback will help me bring you more of the content you enjoy. Join me after a fortnight for yet another engaging discussion with a veteran air traffic controller. Until then, this is Mahesh Sharma, your host, signing off for now. Safe travels and happy landings.
Flight 019er, 2 miles northeast.